as well. We want to talk a little bit more about this and bring in our panel. Rebecca Heinrichs, National Security Analyst and Senior Fellow at the Hudson Institute. Kevin Roberts, Kevin. He's president of the Heritage Foundation, and great to have you both. Let me just start with you, Kevin. Go ahead and make your case on what you think should be done here.
Well, we certainly want the Ukrainians to win, but the problem is, as Bill so aptly pointed out, and that poll shows, the American people realize that there's no end in sight. The President of the United States has not offered a plan. A vast majority of Americans either support just what we've done or less. They don't support this upcoming bill. And ultimately, you can believe that the Ukrainians should win, which we do, while also realize that the Germans and French, who like to wag their finger at Americans and tell us what to do, need to pull more of their own weight. Americans understand, to sum up here, Dana, that there are a lot of challenges at home, including an increasing number of emergencies, obviously from the Hawaii fire, and probably some hurricanes soon. And we've got to take care of our interests at home before spending any more money on Ukraine.
Rebecca, I'm sure you are concerned also about interests at home, but you have a different point of view in terms of our involvement in Ukraine. Go ahead and make your case here.
We do have a lot of problems at home, but we have to hold the line abroad. And that's why we need to have a strong peace through strength foreign policy. And I believe in the Reagan doctrine, which is that you help those countries who are being invaded, who are defending their own national sovereignty. The United States has an interest in making sure that we have stability in Europe. And as a percentage of GDP, the United States is really ranked 9th in terms of our contributions to Ukraine. The Lithuanians, the Poles, the Brits, they're all contributing a greater percentage of their GDP. But the United States is the leader of the free world. And so I would expect that the United States, as a matter of just dollars, would be contributing more. What we need now is to pressure the Biden administration to come up with a strategy. Help the Ukrainians prevail. Don't drip aid. Actually give them the sufficient kinds of categories they need of weapons to push the Russians out, stabilize the region, and bolster NATO's Eastern Front so that we don't have continued problems in Europe, so we can deal with the China threat in the Indo-Pacific.
Rebecca, how do you think the commander-in-chief has done in selling the ideas that you're talking about?
Oh, he's done a terrible job. One of the things I've been shocked by is that you have the Hunter Biden corruption stuff in Ukraine related to that. You have all the politics surrounding it, a commander-in-chief who's really absent. But the American people still support Ukraine because we understand that we don't like a bully. We want to help the democracy that's pushing back a shared enemy of the United States in the Russian Federation. So the American people's instincts are right on that. What we need is global leadership. We need an American president who can make the case to the American people.
Kevin, if you look at call for number 2 here, this is the overall budget of the Defense Department is $1.77 trillion. U.S. aid to Ukraine is $113.4 billion. So obviously those are huge numbers no matter how you look at them. But I wonder what your position is at the Heritage Foundation about this upcoming budget fight that we're about to have this fall. Should the Defense Department have more resources to deal with the threats ahead?
We believe in a strong Defense Department. We're known as Reagan's think tank, so Rebecca and I agree on most things. We have a difference of opinion on this. We believe that we can adopt Reagan's principle of peace through strength by addressing what has changed since Reagan left office. And Dana, you and Bill know this well. The United States is much weaker economically than it was. It's impossible for us to prosecute military interventions in multiple places around the world. And while indeed our Defense Department budget is large and the Ukrainian aid is a mere percentage of that, we also need to be more fiscally responsible. We need more transparency on the Ukrainian aid. We need the plan from the president. This is the point. The United States simply cannot afford the level of support that it's giving the Ukrainians. The American people are saying that, both in your poll as well as in the poll from a competing news outlet, which suggests that 55% of Americans across the political spectrum are opposed to this bill. Therefore, Dana, we are adamantly opposed to the passage of this $24 billion aid package. It also should not be tied to emergency aid for hurricanes and fires. That's the typical D.C. swamp game of playing hostage with the people's money.
We have 30 seconds left. Big question, but I'm going to try and do it. Rebecca, how do you define victory?
We want the Ukrainians to be able to push the Russians back out and to make sure that the Russians do not gain any territory from February 2022. We want to make sure that the Ukrainians have a robust military so they can hold the line so this doesn't continue to happen again. And we want NATO's Eastern Front to succeed again. We want a strong Europe. American security for the American people at home is tied to stability in Europe. These are dollars well spent.
Got it. Kevin, how do you define victory?
Victory is for lives, precious lives that are being lost, to stop being lost today. We believe in peace, and we believe it needs to happen immediately.
All right. Imagine if President Biden came up and gave a speech. Maybe we would hear what his plan for victory is.